I'm Andrew from the Dad.io podcast. Life supplies the inputs and we supply the outputs. Part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other fantastic and amazing geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 365 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on Sunday, July 7th, 2019. Yes, episode 365. That means you can watch one episode of the podcast per day for a year now if you wanted. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. But joining me today, as per the norm, we've got the other fellas. The one, the only, Willie D. Nelson.
It only gets good around, well, whenever I started.
I don't even know what number that is. And of course, also joining us, the Mohawked one himself.
Damn right. I took last week's mention to heart and just said, fuck it. I'm going to give myself a haircut. Except this time I made it a little more difficult. Instead of just shaving my head, I actually gave myself a hawk. Getting the back right was the hard part. Shaving the back of your own head to a straight line is not easy.
So what you're saying is we need to go in business and build our own Mohawk template helmets that basically you put on and it just protects the center of the head. So then, I just do my clippers all around here and there's no way I can get it. So we're going to build hawk helmets
thought about it.
or something.
I've thought about it.
I mean, I like the alliteration with hawk helmet.
Yeah, hawk helmets.
But Willie and I probably shouldn't be involved in businesses that deal with hair.
That's true. Well, I'll have to be the spokesman because, yeah.
Exhibit B.
You could not be the president and clients since you can't be clients.
We could have beard mohawks. I don't know how that works, but I'm intrigued to figure it out.
I had a red mohawk at one time.
Did you now?
You dyed it?
Yep, I went through a bad breakup one time, so I decided to get a red mohawk. It was a dumb decision.
A mohawk is never a bad decision.
I looked more like Raccoon because I never really put it up in a mohawk.
Okay, now that's a bad decision.
Raccoon from Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z. Zed. There we go.
Raccoon, Dragon Ball Z. Are these words? I don't know what you're talking about.
Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, Dragon Ball Z.
Raccoon. I looked more like him because I never put it up into an actual mohawk. A buddy of mine tried to tell me, yeah, just put Elmer's glue. That's what people do. I'm like,
whoa,
no.
So I bought the glue,
no.
But I never used it.
Shit. Anything under like 6 to 8 inches, all you need is regular like gel or mousse. When people go crazy, you use egg whites or egg yolks. Yeah, the yolks that stick you. Yeah, like when you see the people that have them that are like a foot tall, you just do an egg wash because it hardens.
Giggity?
Motherfuckers are crazy.
I'm glad I don't have hair. I don't have to figure this stuff out.
I know. I was almost late because I had to comb my hair this morning. It's ridiculous.
I had to comb my hair this morning. I haven't had to say that in I don't even know how long.
But did you have to comb your beard this morning, Willie? You do have a long beard.
I probably should have. But did.
Apparently, since he's not on camera.
It looks like a lion's mane is what he's saying right now.
Yeah, let's
Willie,
go with that.
are you going to roar for us like a lion?
You put me on the spot here.
Oh, you love
God.
it. You love it.
Oh God. Well, let me just take this back a little bit. This is a story from a couple years ago.
Chris, are you sure it looks like a lion's mane? I think it looks more like a hyena's haunches.
This is from 10 years ago.
Do we need to use the worst bump in history?
No, not at all. So my friends, one of them decided to make a persona named I think it's just a Viking character or something. I forget what the fuck it was. It was just a Viking character. No one cared about him because that was bullshit. But apparently I was his trusty right-sided animal companion named Spirit Bear. And so I had a whole persona for like, Spirit Bear here. Spirit Bear goes, roar, you guys. Roar. It was a whole thing.
Certainly seems like it.
Don't make fun of Spirit Bear.
Thinking I could have lived without that.
Well, my friend Zan, he always called it Dick Bear instead. I'm like, fuck you, Zan.
Now, see, that's funny.
It was all leading into that. Everyone loves a good Dick Bear.
Everyone loves a good dick joke.
Do they? Do they love a good dick bear, Willie? Do they really?
You laughed.
Did I? I don't
Yes.
think I did. I think I groaned.
I don't think that's true.
I laughed.
I don't remember.
You're not paying attention, Willie.
He laughed for good enough for both of you.
Yeah.
Bachman's laughing for 2 because he's pregnant.
That is not true.
He's got food baby? Did you have a lot of food last night? Got food baby out of it?
Willy.
I didn't even eat dinner last night, so no, that doesn't work.
You didn't have a liquid diet last night?
Nope. Well, I had coffee. That's all I had last night.
Fair enough.
Taking a late nap and then having a late pot of coffee, which is probably ridiculously why I probably couldn't sleep.
Yeah, I mean,
Normally it doesn't bother me at all.
coffee late at night, that is generally making it more difficult to sleep, one would think.
You say these things. I don't really believe it.
I used to be able to drink coffee all day till like 8, 9 o'clock at night, and then I would just go to bed at 10 and be fine.
But we're all old now. Our bodies don't work the same way.
Yeah, but I've been old for a while.
Whoa.
Look at Willie.
We?
He's got to take the little blue pills now.
Whoa.
I'm just glad that the setup was there.
That is unfounded and untrue, sir.
I saw the prescription.
It may be unfounded. We don't know if it's untrue.
I still have the hormones of a 14-year-old.
Yeah, you should give those back.
Ooh.
All right, now you're going a little far.
Ooh.
You're going a little far and testy with that one.
You're the one stealing hormones.
I'm not stealing the
saying,
hormones.
Are you saying Willie's a hormone monster?
No, I'm just saying I get hard on the turn of a dime.
Look how fucking furry he is. He's a goddamn hormone monster.
It's a gift and a curse. Like he's
a lot of hormone
hard
monster.
on. Like, why are you hard right now?
Or is he the hormone monstress?
Anymore. Why?
No, he's not that cool.
Okay.
But in the spur of the moment, like, oh, thank you for being hard right now.
Notice how we've just completely ignored what Willie's talking about for the last 30 seconds here right now, everyone. We instead made references to cartoons on Netflix. You're welcome.
I'm just talking to myself at this point, which I'm okay with.
Are you really?
I mean, I gotta be. Someone's gotta be, right?
You know
There'll be more Netflix talk later.
You know what I'm okay with?
Fuck you guys. That's what I'm okay with.
I'm okay with the news of the week.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
Welcome to the news of the week. It's that part of the show where we run down what's in our minds, some of the most interesting, geeky, and or nerdy news to have popped up here in the past week, 2 weeks. We're a little flexible right now. And since we can't talk about Spider-Man because of our spoiler ban, there will be no Spider-Man news. I say this because if you tuned into our pre-show, someone, i.e. not me, wanted to spoil it because they thought it had been 2 weeks already.
It's not really a spoiler. It's just a little blurb that has nothing to do with the plot.
It's a spoiler because you're giving away a reveal to someone. You cannot spoil.
Yep, that is very much it is a spoiler, but the fact that I saw it on Tuesday makes it feel like it was a very long time ago.
Yes. So there will be no Spider-Man Far From Home talk other than at the end we'll talk high level. Did we like it? Did we not? But we will not get into the plot. We will not get into spoilers.
Wait.
That'll be next weekend.
Yes.
Wait. I got this. It's an okay movie.
We'll get to that here in a little bit.
That's all I got.
Okay, that's all you got? Fair. All right, so Anthony, why don't you kick us off with your news?
My news was something very disappointing that actually happened last week, and I missed it. There will be a huge rebranding coming to DC Comics, and the sad part about that is that it's going to be the end of Vertigo. They are retiring the Vertigo imprint, and so the DC Comics line that's basically given us like the best books out of DC in the last 20 some odd years is going to go away. For those that don't know, titles such as Sandman, Preacher, Why the Last Man, Fables, Lucifer were all printed under Vertigo. Vertigo was it was in two parts. DC's basically adult line when they first decided they were going to do comics very specifically aimed at the adult audience, the 40-year-olds who had grown up reading comics and were still reading comics and wanted more like heady works. It was aimed at those people, and then it was also the creator-owned imprint. So Brian K. Vaughan, did Y the Last Man at Vertigo. He owns Y the Last Man. DC doesn't own it. So it was, it covered up two categories. Yeah, it's really sad because Karen Berger was in charge of it, as far as I know, the entire time of the DC imprint, starting in '93, and she kind of like led the way for bringing Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, Neil Gaiman, and a lot of these other writers into the American mainstream audience in a way that they hadn't been yet, because of the way she shepherded Vertigo titles and kind of pushed them on the world and basically let us all find out about really good fucking stories that we didn't know about yet. And so she's now the one leading a Dark Horse. And let's see, what was it? Yeah, she said they had a tweet from her: corporate thinking and creative risk-taking don't mix. DC nixing Vertigo was a long time coming, but hey, we changed the game and we had a blast doing it. Honored to have worked with so many incredible, talented creators and editors, and thanks to all our fabulous readers. That was a tweet from her back on the 21st of June. So I guess, yeah, the news about this was actually coming at the end of last month. But yeah, it had run for it had its 25th anniversary in 2018, and had announced a bunch of new upcoming books. They had the new what is it, the young monsters, young animals. Reckon I can't think of the Gerard Way. He had a new book coming out through there, but everything's going to be rebranded. So what they're going to do now is DC is going to actually have 3 separate lines. You're going to have DC Kids books aimed at specifically 8 to 12-year-olds. What was in the same range as the DC Zoom. Regular DC will contain material appropriate for ages 13 and up, and including all the main titles in the DC Universe continuity. So your Justice League, your Action Comics, your Detective Comics, all the main books. And then there's going to be a new umbrella that's going to wrap in all the Vertigo books, all the adult line imprints, all the separate miniseries, and they're all going to be covered in what's going to be called DC Black Label, which will now be representing stories for ages 17 and up. So basically, they're going to have the Black Label for aiming at the Vertigo audience and the continuing comics fans, people like me that have been reading comics for 30 years and keep reading comics and just won't stop. But yeah, it's sad to see it go, but it's one of those things where it wasn't gonna carry on forever. Giant companies are always rebranding. But yeah, it was a cool thing to see all the love for it come out online, because yeah, Vertigo put a lot of stories out there that a lot of people love, and a lot of it has given us great TV and movies now. If it wasn't for Vertigo, we wouldn't have Lucifer and Preacher on television.
I was surprised they're dumping it, but they're just rebranding and kind of stuff that would be under Vertigo. It's just going to have a new name to it. So all they're really losing is name recognition. And the question is, how much name recognition outside the world of comics is there for Vertigo?
Did you say Lucifer?
Yeah. Lucifer was Vertigo, DC Vertigo. Neil Gaiman.
I did.
Yeah, Sandman, which is now going to be, they announced Gaiman's doing a Netflix Sandman, allegedly. It's just I guess they're in talks. Like, contracts haven't been signed, but they're in talks, so we might get an actual Sandman show. Preacher, which we got on Amazon. Why the Last Man, which has been rumored as a TV series, and rumored again, I think, as a movie in Amazon. Like, they keep going back and forth on what they're going to do with that one.
Yeah, for how many years?
For a while.
Yeah,
because it's a fantastic story. It's a disease hits the planet that kills all men, except for some reason that no one could figure out. A kid named Yorick, who's a magician with a monkey, ends up being the only man left alive on Earth, and he tries to travel the planet to get back to his girlfriend, and has to deal with basically a lot of crazy women in the way.
Sounds like my life.
You wish.
yes,
Except for minus the girlfriend thing.
It's girlfriends in Willie's book. He's got like 6 of them in
That's true.
W, the Last Man.
He's a man whore.
Oh, W the Last Man, I love it. Wait, why is it called the Y the Last Man? Is it because his name starts with Y?
Name starts with Y, I assume.
Warwick, and because he's the last XY on the planet. He's the last man.
I'll still be W the Last Man. I love it.
Yeah, Transmet was also a Vertigo. So yeah, it was a bunch of books, but yeah, the word Vertigo kind of does bring up like it does kind of make me think of the 90s. So
Makes me a little dizzy.
yeah, there's that too.
There you go.
But yeah, so it's rebranding. It's also like Karen Burgess tweet said, it's always corporate thinking. So this is just another way for DC to slap new number ones on everything. So every book that's continuing to go out that'll be in that line that's already being published will come out with a new number one under DC Black Label. So they'll get to rebrand. They'll get to launch new number ones, which all corporate, everybody in fucking corporate publishing, all they ever want to do is when you're getting to the next number one issue. Number one, we want number one. Number one spike sales, and number ones piss off continuous readers. Fuck you. Because the people that buy those number ones don't hang around for issue 75.
Well, people buy them just in the hopes they can turn around and sell them, and that's not really how it works anymore.
Nope, and that's all the death of Superman's fault.
Well, I mean, it is to some lesser extents where it did work. Like you talk about an issue like Walking Dead #1, where it turned into something that nobody expected. You could flip that for some good coin for a long time. I don't even know what the prices are now, but
it was $600 the last time I looked.
Yeah, so that's not decent.
But that was also a very limited print run of a book that nobody knew about and wasn't going to do anything because it was zombies and nobody cared about zombies.
Right. Nobody cares about zombies. It's not like there's not multiple television shows about them. Robert Kirkman hasn't built an empire based off of them.
No. Well, none of that shit was happening when it came out. But also, they've never done another issue #1 for The Walking Dead.
That's true. But hey.
Fuck you, rebranding.
Who knows what's going to happen now? Let's talk The Walking Dead. If you
hold on a second.
God damn it, Willie.
He had such a good transition.
Yeah, you did. I'm here to fuck it up.
And
you know what the best
all over
rebranding was, though? When
Electric Blue Superman.
You got
shut the fuck up.
You read my mind.
That was some of the. I was reading Action Comics when that happened. That was some of the dumbest shit in the history of comics.
I got those as well. Why? I don't know, because I didn't read comic books then, but I still got like, Blue Superman, he's electric. Ooh.
I'm almost as fast as the Flash, but for the one time that I think I really need to be in two places at once, I'll actually split into two electric characters. What the fuck? Mullet Superman's better than electric Superman. Jesus Christ.
Mullet Superman's the best Superman. Hell, Nick Cage was almost Mullet Superman.
That's true. He would have been close to Mullet Superman.
Terrible.
All right, Chris. I'm done fucking you up your shit.
Well, you already ruined my segue to go over into Walking Dead. There's no natural segue between Superman to The Walking Dead. Like, hey, speaking of comics, let's talk about another comic because I can't use my goddamn good segue because someone ruined it. Yes, someone ruined it.
Grave after I killed it.
Willie the Segway Killer.
Willie the Segway Killer.
Because Willie the Segway Killer shot it in the fucking head.
So W the Segway Killer is who we're talking about now.
There's your show title. W the Segway Killer.
Oh shit!
Actually, the show title's W the Last Man right now.
Oh, headshot. Headshot.
The Last Half Man.
The Last Half Man.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's right. So I have no good segue to it, but hey, let's talk about the Walking Dead comics, something we haven't done on this show in ages. It kind of started leaking out this week, but with issue 193 of The Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman's comic run on that series has ended. A surprise to everyone. So much of a surprise, in fact, that they had commissioned another 3 covers for The Walking Dead to put in the previews to say, hey, here's the upcoming issues of The Walking Dead. No, they're not actually coming out. Walking Dead 193 is the final installment of The Walking Dead. Now, it came as a shock to everyone. It did start leaking out, I want to say, around Monday, Tuesday time frame. I will say Steve Boyd, who I used to host WTWD Radio Free Woodbury, a.k.a. the Walking Dead podcast, he had told me about it, I think, on Friday or Thursday of last week, and actually had a screenshot of the final splash page from the book, which is the letter from Robert Kirkman to all the fans. So he's like, if this is true, this is interesting. And hey, it ended up being true. The Walking Dead has finished. It kind of came out of nowhere. No one was expecting it. I'm not caught up with the book. My understanding was they had just completed a major arc, but set up things going forward. So that everyone's like, I don't know where this is going to go, but it sounds really interesting. You're not going to know where it goes. Pretty much from what Kirkman seemed to indicate in interviews and things like that. This final issue is what he'd had in the back of his head forever for how to end things. So it does not seem like and I don't know this for a fact because I haven't read it yet, that you get much resolution on everything that was set up to happen going forward, i.e. meaning they could revisit the book later if they want. I don't know. What he said in his issue 193 at the end was, personally, I hate knowing what's coming. As a fan, I hate it when I realized I'm in the third act of a movie and the story's winding down. I hate that I can count commercial breaks and know I'm nearing the end of a TV show. I hate that you can feel you're getting to the end of a book or a graphic novel. The Walking Dead was always built upon surprise, not knowing what's going to happen when you turn the page, who's going to die, how they're going to die. It's been essential to the success of the series. It's been the lifeblood that kept it going all these years, keeping people engaged. It felt wrong and against the very nature of the series not to make the actual end as surprising as the big deaths from Shane all the way to, spoiler, redacted because it just happened in the previous issue and I don't want to spoil it for anyone. So
Spoil me.
I'm not going to spoil it just because I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but the issue 1 hit in 2003. That's when a young Chris Farrell was graduating from high school. Now we are all the way up to here.
Children. I was already out of the Navy.
It has spawned 2 television spin-offs, multiple video game spin-offs. To say that The Walking Dead exceeded what the expectations were when it first came out would be an understatement. The book is over.
Oh, yeah.
From a fan standpoint, albeit one who's not caught up because I go in and out of interest on The Walking Dead and I generally pick things up when they're on sale. I kind of like the fact that it's a surprise ending, but I'm sure once I get caught up, I'm going to be frustrated with the fact of, wait, all this stuff just happened. You're setting up a bunch of stuff and then I don't get resolution on what happened with these things. And that's going to annoy me a bit in the back of my head. And since Anthony hasn't read the book yet, I hesitate to say anything else because I don't want to spoil what happens in this, for lack of a better term, one-shot finale. So I can
because sadly, I only get my comics on payday, and so I don't get to pick up this issue until next Friday, which it's fucking annoying to see that it ended online before I can pick up the books because I didn't get them on Wednesday. It's goddamn aggravating that this shit gets leaked and ruined for people who aren't reading, so that they can, make news for people who aren't even reading the fucking book, when it spoils it for people who are reading the book. Because I have every single issue since like issue 10.
Well, let's be honest. The fact that it stayed a secret as long as it did is what's a surprise. The fact it didn't hit the mainstream media until like Monday or Tuesday of this week is the bigger shock.
It is fucking aggravating though, because they just did a massive thing in the book, and last issue had some resolution to it, but not a ton. And it kind of like set the tone. You had a feeling that this next issue, the one that came out Wednesday, would have been the one setting the tone of the book going forward. And apparently, instead of going forward, they just ended it, which is also annoying because Robert Kirkman has said 1,000 times in interviews that the one thing he wanted to keep writing the rest of his life was The Walking Dead. And so now he's not doing that either. So he ended Invincible, he ended Walking Dead. The only books he's writing are the ones I'm not reading because they're not that interesting.
Well, I mean, there's probably more focus going into the TV side of things because we know they're also going to do spin-off movies, which, remember, we were all told, Andrew Lincoln's leaving the show. Andrew Lincoln's leaving the show. He's leaving the show to do movies about The Walking Dead. So there's not a bunch of twists there, things like that. So there was actually a comment I saw on a Reddit thread. It was by the user by the name of Gent316, and I think summed up how I would feel if I were caught up on things. And he says, I've got to say that while I respect Kirkman's intent, I'm glad I got spoiled that this was going to be the last issue. If I spent the whole issue thinking this was an amazing setup to a whole new storyline, I would have been pissed when I saw the end rather than just enjoying the story. So maybe that was part of the thought of getting it out there, as they realize that there's a lot of people who are like, wow, they're setting up this great thing, and they get to the last page and be like, the end? What the fuck? This is horse shit.
Definitely possible.
I know, I read the book. This is the only one I've read because I'm way behind, like I said. I read it and I went, what that guy said, the Gent316 on Reddit, I kind of feel the same way. If they're setting up all this stuff and like, wow, there's a bunch of potential, I can't wait to see where they go with it. And then if I got to the end, I'd be like, the hell? What are you doing to me?
I'll be able to go more in depth next weekend because I'll be able to pick it up on Friday for payday, and then I'll read it and figure out what happened between the last issue with the big, huge death, and then the last issue of the comic to figure out what the fuck he actually said. Because I'll read the Kirkman thing.
And I have.
I mean, it is a book that's been controversial though, like it always has been. When they murdered children in the prison, they had a huge drop off in the fan base. Like there's babies that get killed in the comic. Like it's much more gruesome than the TV show. And then the same thing when at the at the 50th issue when they, a lot of people died as they were leaving the prison. They had another huge drop off. It's just, and then the death of Glenn. Like, there's been a lot of deaths that have, made people drop the book, where they actually saw like huge dips in the sales numbers because the book was so vicious. And it's always been controversial. So, I mean, that is in playing with the flavor of The Walking Dead. He's never played towards fan expectations. Kirkman does what Kirkman wants to do.
So part of me can't help but wonder if part of what might be going on here is the fact that between writing The Walking Dead, presumably being involved in the writer's room for The Walking Dead TV show, and Fear the Walking Dead, that there might have just been some concern of, I don't know if I can keep all these fires burning, keep all these different setups alive in a comic, just do different setups in the TV shows. I don't know what it is. Maybe part of it was that he went, the comic's done because we need to focus on the TV show, and arguably resurrecting the TV show in some regards, because a lot of fans, and I'm a lapsed fan, I've been off for 2-3 years now, have kind of stopped watching. Ratings are down. There's some concern over the fact that certain actors and actresses are leaving or have left already. So there's maybe part of that is it's going to go put a greater focus on the Walking Dead television programs and any other spin-offs there. Or maybe it could be we wait a year or two from now and he says, hey, let's go back to The Walking Dead, and you get something that starts based off of what we got from either the last issue or this final issue. I don't know. I mean,
could be.
You'll get a new Walking Dead #1 just to piss everyone off.
And it is set up to where there is a very good reason that I won't say in the storyline for it to like do another 5 or 10 year jump forward and pick up with the world, because of something that just happened in the last 2 to 3 issues. It would kind of make sense, and that would be interesting. So if he came back 10 years from now, we also have to remember, you talk about distractions and burning the fire on both ends. Kirkman's also still dealing with his lawyers suing AMC for them not getting a proper cut of the #1 cable show in the history of television, because they have, between Frank Darabont, I can't remember the female producer that's been there with Darabont and Kirkman through all of it. She was on like the Terminator movies, like she's produced everything, but she's also involved. Them and like 3 other people and other producers, and I think some of the head or the higher paid actors are all suing AMC for not getting a proper percentage of the profit sharing, because they're trying to prove in court right now, still I believe to this day, that AMC basically doctored the numbers and wasn't giving them their cut of millions and millions of dollars of advertising revenue that they made being the #1 show ever.
So what you're saying is, if you were surprised by the abrupt cancellation or ending of the book, be prepared for the TV show to do the same thing, so that they can.
The show could definitely happen too.
They could be.
You might be like, "Fuck it, we're not paying these people to sue us."
Yeah, fuck this, canceling the show.
Yeah, I was shocked when they said they were coming back again. I was like, all these lawsuits and you're still making the show? But then again, AMC's like, well, yeah, even if we stop doctoring the numbers, we're still making money.
So here's the bigger problem, though. If you're AMC right now, aside from The Walking Dead and Better Call Saul, what are people watching on your channel right now? What are the other AMC shows right now?
Do they have any other shows?
I don't know.
Isn't Into the Badlands AMC?
I don't think it is pulling close to those ratings, but yes.
No, but it was the only one I could think of.
Let's go to
I
their
do love
website.
that show.
So AMC.com/all-shows. We have the American.
Into the Badlands is AMC.
Yeah, we have The Adulterers, which I've never heard of. The American West, Best Christmas Ever, Better Call Saul, which is phenomenal. Breaking Bad, which is an old show that they can probably show in reruns. But as I'm scrolling through their page here, I'm like, I haven't heard of some of these. I don't.
They're doing a Nosferatu.
Okay, I forgot about that one.
Yep.
Let's see, Kevin Smith's
Joe
talk
Hill
show,
one.
which I think was canceled, is on there. Halt and Catch Fire, which I enjoyed, but never really took off, and it's in its final season. Hell on Wheels, which I enjoyed, but I think it's wrapped its run. You mentioned Enter the Badlands. Killing Eve, which I've heard lots of good things about, but I think that's BBC America, and they just have the rights to it in America.
Rebroadcast.
I think so.
The Terror's on there since 2018.
Mad Men, but that's
heard
over
a couple
already.
of things. Rubicon was an old one. Humans was an old one.
Portlandia, but I thought that was IFC. Preacher.
Yeah, that's IFC. Preacher, which is still going, which is fantastic. So they have a couple shows.
But here's the thing. None of them are at the same level that The Walking Dead was. Even Walking Dead in its depressed rating state. I don't think any of them are at the same level as that.
No. They don't have anything in their catalog right now that could fill that slot and bring in the numbers that The Walking Dead does if The Walking Dead goes away.
That's why I don't think it's going away. I think that if they've truly committed to doing, what was it, 3 TV movies of it, you've probably got at least another 3 years of Walking Dead, I would assume. And we're at season 9. Is that what Walking Dead's on? I have no idea.
I think, I think this is 9, because I think 8's the one I just watched, because I always watch the full season when it drops on Netflix, just because I don't have AMC and I don't pay for cable, so I always just watch the whole thing when it drops on Netflix, and I think 8 is the last one I watched.
Okay. So it's going to be interesting. And then Jonathan Hickman, I think he can empathize with people on Twitter. He's the current writer of the X-Men books. Marvel said, I have no idea what's next for all these Walking Dead dudes, but having your book canceled abruptly, it's always tough. Hang in there, guys. One of these days it's going to happen for you. Fingers crossed. He's making a joke there, and I enjoyed the shit out of it. Because
Kirkman aside, big props to Charlie Adlard. For those that don't know, the original 5-issue Walking Dead comic book was Robert Kirkman and Tony Moore was the artist on the original book. So in issue 6, when they decided to keep going after the miniseries sold so well, because it was originally supposed to be a 5-issue mini, like Image didn't agree to more than 5 issues, and that's why the 5th issue ends with the death of Shane, and it's a nice contained, small trade paperback. And then when they decided to go forward, Kirkman needed a artist that could stay on the book regularly and do a monthly book, hopefully forever. Well, at the time was the idea, and Tony Moore just could not, commit to that. And so just like Invincible, where they had to go from Corey Walker over to Ryan Otley, who became the monthly artist, Charlie Adlard stepped in, who is an artist from the UK, and as far as I know, has drawn every single issue of The Walking Dead from 6 to whatever this issue was that just ended. He had some help with inking at some point. He wasn't. He liked to do his own pencils and then ink them himself. And a lot of times when they did like the war, where it went, I think it was weekly. They for 12 issues or something, like for 3 months, like the book was weekly. It was insane. But for a while, Charlie Adlard had somebody else inking him. But yeah, he's been the number one, like he's the artist on The Walking Dead. And he's done every book since Tony Moore left. And it's insane, one, how much his art has grown, but while at the same time still staying so consistent. You look at like the dark, gritty, black and white images from the prison stories, real early on in the teens of the issues up to the last issue of the book. And like his ability to convey a realistic world filled with dead people and make every damn panel interesting is insane. Charlie Adlard is a fantastic artist. And if anything, the motherfucker deserves a break. Like he needs some time off. He's earned it. And Kirkman was flat out, always honest about it. When The Walking Dead or Invincible books were ever late, it was actually never on the artist. It was because he got them strips late. Ryan Otley and Charlie Adlard are two of the strongest, consistent artists in comics. And yeah, they both kicked ass for over a decade on the books they were on. So, Robert Kirkman's making a ton of money on the shows and stuff, but, he also introduced us to some fantastic goddamn artists. And, congratulations to Charlie Adlard for one of the longest and best runs in comics as an artist I've ever seen. The dude is an amazing artist. It's so cool. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does next.
That's what I was wondering, is what is next for him. I'm sure Kirkman might have another project he's working, and that could be, hey, Charlie, we're done with this. Why don't you come work on this project with me? We obviously can work as a team.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, we saw what happened with Ryan Otley. Like, he did basically, they call the minor leagues and the major leagues. He left Invincible after 15 years and started drawing the Amazing Spider-Man for Marvel. So he's on one of the biggest books in the world at the biggest publisher. So Charlie Adlard, after proving he can do 15 years on The Walking Dead, there's nothing he can't draw.
Man,
but just realistic.
Just imagine if you're like one of those execs over at Image and Kirkman's like, hey, I want to end the book. You're probably like, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. What are we going to put in place of this?
They're still going to get their trade paperback sales forever.
Yes,
The Walking Dead will be an evergreen title. They won't be getting the monthly money.
Every time there's a new season premiere and a season finale, you'll always have a bunch of people going out and buying the trades.
You know what I want, though? We saw Otley leave the biggest superhero book ever with Invincible and go to, or the best superhero book ever, and go to like the biggest superhero book with Amazing Spider-Man. What we need, the grim and gritty black and white artist Charlie Adlard needs to go work on Detective Comics. If they can get Adler to go from The Walking Dead to Batman and get us Batman in his style, that would be fucking fantastic.
I guess it depends on what kind of contract he may have signed exclusive to Image or anything like that. I have no idea what his contract is like. So who knows?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Now, Willie, you've been awful silent. Have you ever read the Walking Dead books, Willie? Or have you watched the show or any of that?
No and yes.
So you've watched some of the show.
But haven't read the comics.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I watched too much of the show. Should have stopped a long time before I stopped.
Been there.
I was like, this is boring shit. I'm done with this. Why am I still watching this? Oh, wait, I can just choose not to. So I'm going to choose not to. Fuck this boring shit. I'm out of here.
You know, I had a similar realization with the Walking Dead show where it stopped being fun for me to watch it. And I was like, why am I doing this? I can just stop watching it. And I stopped. And I was like, I don't have any hate for the show or anything like that. It just wasn't a show for me anymore. Because there's some people that stopped watching like, it's changed. I don't like it. I hate everything about it. I just like it changed or my taste changed or something like that. Regardless, it just wasn't a good fit for me. And I wish, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I just wish more people, when they left a fandom or a show, could behave in a similar manner. Like, hey, it's just not for me anymore. Instead of Star Wars SJW agenda, blah, 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 stuff like that. I get tired of those kind of things. Makes me sad.
Indeed.
But you know
It
what?
looks like, it was season 8 that's just out on Netflix. Season 9 will be coming in September 2019.
Nice. But that makes me sad. But you know what makes me happy? Free DLC in games that have been out for months that come as a surprise to no one. Willie, Willie, you'll like this story, I think.
Uh-huh.
Have you had a chance to play Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4 in the past week?
Oh, yeah. No, well, you already know the answer is no.
Yeah, that's right. I kind of forgot for a second, but that's correct. I do know the answer is no. But in news that did kind of surprise us for a little bit here is there was a tweet that came out from Insomniac Games this week that said, hey guys, enjoy this new costume pack we're putting out for the Spider-Man game. And I was like, put a new costume pack out? This game's been out for months. I figured we're at the point where they've just stopped supporting it. Well, evidently not, because I want to say on Tuesday, the same day Spider-Man Far From Home dropped in theaters, they dropped 2 free DLC costumes to the Marvel Spider-Man game. That's the game that we all love that caused me to then go buy a PlayStation 4 because I wanted to play it.
You goddamn right.
Goddamn right. So, what are the 2 costumes they dropped this week? They dropped the 2 new suits from Far From Home. The stealth suit that we've seen in all the commercials, and then the new black suit that we've seen Peter wear. Yes.
Can we say the name of the stealth suit, the character name, or is that too much of a spoiler?
I want to. I'm sitting on a meme that I saw on one of the spoiler threads on Reddit about it, but
I don't know if that would be a spoiler, but it's definitely it steals a joke out of the movie.
yeah,
that's for
so
sure.
we probably shouldn't talk about things that happen at night with apes.
Oh, no, come on!
We'll say that for next weekend.
Come on! That's bullshit, and you know it.
Next Sunday, nocturnal sapien action will be happening.
Man, fuck y'all. I'm out of here.
So yes, Insomniac Games did drop 2 new costume packs, or 2 new costumes rather. I went and loaded up Marvel Spider-Man on Friday or Thursday. I can't remember. I think it was Thursday is when I loaded it up, and I went, where do I go to download these? I was like, oh wait, it auto downloaded in the background. Loaded up the game, put on the stealth suit, and went, oh that's cool. And then put on the new black suit and went, this is badass. Because you can actually see all the textures and stuff the same way it was on the movie, where there's like different textures and stuff like that on the suit, different patterns. It looks really cool. And as someone who played most of Marvel's Spider-Man wearing the Homecoming suit the whole time, I was like, I'm totally going to replay this game just in the black suit now. I'm going to start a new game and start from scratch wearing the black suit just because A, I need to do a new version of that game because I loved it so much, and B, the suit looks fantastic. They've put all of these suit costumes, or not suit costumes, all these different costumes in the game that you can earn, things like that. But I think some of the most cool looking ones are the ones they've added for free. And I think that the Far From Home suit might be the coolest looking one in the game. Although I do kind of like the Raimi suit, but I hate how the fans reacted to get said Raimi suit.
Well, they were already making it probably before they were.
How many free suits is this since the game launched and the DLC was done?
So there was the Bagman suit, the Future Foundation suit, the 2 Far From Home suits, the Raimi suit.
So you've gotten 5 or 6 suits like for free for nothing. Like it's fantastic. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I still need to load that up and try that because I'm still playing my New Game Plus. I restarted the game and I've been playing through. I finished the whole first time through basically with the Kane Scarlet Spider suit, the one that's a red bodysuit with the black top, because I love the Scarlet Spider suit, and then the two versions of the 2099 suits.
Okay, yes, there is a boatload of suits that were added. There's some that actually came in the DLC that I forgot about. So what does it say in this article? There are 42 suits in Marvel's Spider-Man
Jesus
PS4.
Christ.
Didn't it just come with 24 of them?
I think so. And then the DLC packs all added 3. And then I think
each of the story modes had 3 suits, or each of the
9.
DLC, so you had 9 more there.
And then the miscellaneous ones, which were the free ones that were added on after the fact, are the Web suit, which is the Raimi suit, Future Foundation, Bombastic Bagman, the Stealth suit, and the Far From Home suit. So I think they only added 5 suits for free after the fact. The rest of them are through the DLC, which has a boatload.
That's still 5 more than any Batman Arkham game did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and free.
I need to finish
suits.
That's what I'm in.
I need to finish the final DLC on Marvel Spider-Man, which I haven't,
Me
because I haven't
too.
unlocked the Into the Spider-Verse suit yet, which I really want.
Yeah.
I forgot how much stuff was in this game. It's a great game. There's a reason why we keep talking so highly about it, because it's a self-contained story. It's a single-player game, something you don't see very often anymore. The story's fantastic. The voice acting is really good, and I have minimal complaints, if any, about the game. I think my only complaint is I have to wait another 2 years for a sequel and probably buy a new console to be able to play it.
There's a reason why you bought a PlayStation 4 for it.
Yes, and most of my gameplay hours on my PS4 are because of Marvel Spider-Man. I've played a little bit of God of War 4, and I can't remember the other game I've been playing on there, but most of what I've been playing has been Spider-Man on there. Although I still stand by what I've said before, which is the console I play the most, and it surprises me the most, is my friggin' Switch. Go figure.
You figure it out.
I don't. You figure it out. You do it.
Stop arguing, ladies. You're both pretty.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's what I need to hear today. It brings
I will
a
say
smile
the
to my face.
weirdest suit is the Ghost Rider suit.
But it's still cool
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah.
It is cool looking, but it is fucking creepy.
It's meant to.
White body with a flaming white skull. It's just weird.
Blue flame.
It's true. So we were talking about the Spider-Man game, which kind of leads us naturally to say, hey guys, on Tuesday, Spider-Man Far From Home came out. And while we can't talk spoilers about it, which I know some people are frustrated about.
Hey, well, before we get into this, I got something else to say.
Go ahead, Willie. What do you got
I'm
to
just
say?
messing with you. I'm just trying to ruin your segue. I'm just fucking with you.
The Segway Killer.
So we will get into Far From Home. This is enough to give our initial impressions, whether we liked it, whether we didn't like it, things like that. If you want to hear spoilers on Far From Home, we will not spoil this until Sunday, July 14th. Swing on by Geeks.live, 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll do our news of the week real quick, and then we'll start talking Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, my initial impressions, I really enjoyed it. Is it my number 1 Spider-Man movie? No, because Into the Spider-Verse exists. Is it my number 2? Maybe. I need to rewatch it before I know that for sure. But I really enjoyed it. It has continued to prove to me that Tom Holland is perfect casting as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. He's phenomenal in the role. You can tell the guy's enjoying getting to do the role, and I want him to do more movies. And I am also sick and tired of all the clickbait articles out there right now of, you won't believe how many movies are left on Tom Holland's contract. Will we get a Spider-Man 3? Yes, he signed a 6-movie contract. He's got 1 movie left. And let's be honest, this is a man who in interviews said, I want him to do this role forever. Do you think he's not going to sign a new deal? If they come and be like, hey, we want you to keep playing Spider-Man, the dude's going to sign and do a new deal because he said before he loves doing the role. So I'm tired of all the clickbait out there of, oh my God, Tom Holland might not be doing more Spider-Man, or Tom Holland's contract, how many is left? It's 1. He's got 1 movie left. 1. Stop clickbaiting me. It's really freaking annoying.
Stop clicking on them.
I'm not.
Yeah.
They pop up in my Twitter feed all the time. God, people keep retweeting this shit, or it shows up in like my Google News feed or something like that. And I'm like, what the hell? He's got 1
Yeah.
left.
The awesome thing really is going to be the fact that, if things keep going well between Sony and Marvel, which they seem to be, his next contract might be for 8 to 10 movies. Like, we might get another trilogy of Spider-Man films and another 5 to 7 appearances in MCU movies on top of that. Like, we might end up having a Spider-Man who's in 14 movies. Like, how fucking awesome would that be?
Yeah, let's
Because
be
Tom
honest.
Holland is great.
Let's be honest.
He's fucking great.
If Tom Holland wasn't going to do more movies, would he have had such a predominant role in the last two Avengers movies, where he was getting major screen time that made a point of putting him on screen with Captain Marvel, so everyone's like, oh, I want to see more of this in the future. He's there. They're going to do exactly like what Sailor Poland said in the chat room. So just as Spidey is following an Iron Man's lead, Tom Holland is following RDJ's lead. Exactly. He's going to get the same kind of contract that RDJ did. Signed up for an initial run. They're going to go, oh, hey, we want to do more. He's going to go, okay, let's talk and figure out what we're going to do more. He's going to get paid a shitload of money.
His management is going to say points.
Yeah, well, and can you blame them? Because
the
dude's fantastic in the role. He's amazing. And let's be honest, most of the cast of these movies, they're all really good, and they play off of each other really well.
Yeah, all the kids in Far From Home are great again. Even dealing with the weird 5-year jump.
The blip.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah, the blip. Yeah, it was a super fun movie. And yeah, it was. I don't think it's my number one, because I still think that, honestly, I think Michael Keaton as the Vulture might be the best villain that they've done. And it's not because of the superhero shit. It's literally that scene where he's in the car talking shit to Peter Parker. That scene where it's literally just Michael Keaton and Tom Holland. That's one of the best villain moments that they've had in the MCU. Like, I love that scene. But in all honesty, Mysterio's probably the best character upgrade since Iron Man. The way they redid his character and brought it into the world and into the storyline of the MCU and upgraded him from just Quentin Beck, special effects, crappy actor in the, Marvel Comics. The fucking Mysterio's awesome. Gyllenhaal is fucking killing it. And you can tell, just like Holland, he had fun making this movie. You can tell that they enjoyed their time together. These guys had a blast making this film. And then, besides, all the spoiler stuff and the cameos and shit that we'll talk about next week, it's just another really fun movie. Tom Holland always makes you enjoy watching him. He makes every damn scene interesting. And he can dodge bullets, but not bananas. So, it's a weird world.
It's a weird world indeed.
Is it a spoiler if it was in a clip before the movie got released?
No.
All right, so I want to talk about something that was a little weird. That I was like, wait, really? They're doing this in this movie? Or I guess I don't know how I feel about this. I guess I'll wait till I see it to find the fuck out about this. So the clip was Mysterio talking about the alternate stuff and saying what universe they're in right now.
Yeah.
That was kind of a fuck up, wasn't it?
No,
Marvel 616. That's the main Marvel universe.
No, that's the comic book universe. That's the cinematic universe has a whole completely different number.
It does have a different number there.
Yeah,
but
so what the fuck is that
It
bullshit?
was an Easter egg.
That
That's all it was.
Bullshit. Suck my dick, Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's the hill you're going to choose to die on, is that you don't like an Easter egg reference to Earth 616.
In the comics, if they go through the web of life and transverse to the actual universe where the MCU characters exist, that would have its own designation. But what they're saying in the movies is that we're seeing a representation of the 616, because they think the live action Marvel characters think they're the main universe. So they would think they're in the 616. They're wrong, but that's what they would think.
And you can suck my dick too.
So Sailor Poland.
No. Actually, no, you can't. That goatee will tickle way too harshly.
Sailor Poland in the chat room goes, I've seen dumber fights over dumber things, dude. I can't exactly fault Willie. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So Spider-Man Far From Home, I think it's an enjoyable ride. I want to see it a second time. We all know Marvel movies have post-credit scenes. Now, how important those post-credit scenes are in other movies is debatable. What I will say here is you need to stay for both post-credit scenes. Seriously, yes. Stay for both. The first one is arguably more shocking, but the second one potentially sets up a lot of things for Phase 4. So stay for both post-credit scenes. If you don't know what they're setting up in Phase 4, come back next week. We'll talk about it. We'll give you our theories of what they're going to do with it. But it's important. And that second post-credit scene solved one of the issues I had of characters in the movie where I was going, why are they doing this? It explained it to me, and I went, oh, that's why they did that. So stay for both. They're really important. I'm really, really curious to see where they go from here. After the first stinger, I went, son of a bitch. I got to wait 3 years for the next Spider-Man movie to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Well, not
Damn
really.
it.
I mean, till the next Spider-Man movie that he's going to be in. You think they're really going to wait till the next Spider-Man movie to put him into a movie?
Well, depends on what they do for Phase 4, which we don't know. And now there are rumors, and I think some of them have been slightly confirmed, that Marvel's going back to Comic-Con this year, and they're going to have panels and things like that. So I think post-Comic-Con, we might have an idea of what's going to happen with Phase 4. But if they go and do like a bunch of cosmic stuff, do you really think Peter Parker is going to show up in the cosmic movies?
I mean, he was already in space once.
Bitch, you've been to space.
Bitch, you've
Whoa,
been to space.
whoa!
That was in the trailers.
Yep, that was in the trailers. I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Bitch, you've been to space.
There's a lot of good one-liners in this movie. I enjoy John
Yeah.
Watts' take on Spider-Man. I hope he gets to do the third movie in this trilogy because he's done really good on Homecoming and Far From Home.
I do want to say they got something down perfectly in one of the stingers. That's all I want to say. Just something perfect.
That's fair.
Let's see.
Yeah,
And
now you gotta
Comic
say
Con's
what's
coming up on
perfect.
the 18th, so we don't have long to wait on possible new news.
Yep. So I think we'll get a lot of information on Phase 4, or at least a taste to be like, hey, here's what's on the slate. Because what do we know that's confirmed for Phase 4?
Nothing.
Nothing. We know here's a bunch
Or-
of stuff they've started work on.
Isn't this Phase 5 now?
No.
Four.
This is 4. Phase 3 ends with Spider-Man Far From Home, I thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
I mean, I'm off of Phase.
Yeah, Bachman's too old to count.
It's true. I'm very old.
So, like I said, come back next week. We're going to talk Spider-Man Far From Home. We'll talk spoilers, speculation, things like that. I'm a Spider-Man fan. I'm biased. I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought you finally got to see a great depiction on screen of how Spider-Man should fight. This was some of the coolest use of his webs and spider agility and things like that. You couldn't do it in the Raimi movies because CGI wasn't there yet. You couldn't do it in Homecoming because Spider-Man didn't know quite what he was doing yet. But hey, he went and fought a space war. I think he's a bit hardened now and knows how to fight.
Well, we got the steps along the way when he fought Vulture, where he was trying stuff and trying to figure out how to fight a supervillain, which it made sense because he'd only been Spider-Man about 5 goddamn minutes and had a brand new suit. So that made sense. And now, we have a much more trained Spider-Man going after Mysterio.
And one thing I want to mention here, just so you guys remind me to talk about it next week, remind me to talk about Karen, because I have questions.
Talk about what?
Karen.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say, is
Talk about
remind me
what?
to talk about Karen.
Karen?
Suit Lady.
Yeah, from Homecoming. Okay, fair enough.
We can't talk about it now, but we can talk about it next week. And I will write a note on my notepad. I have theories, but...
And I also want to say that I do appreciate that they did change Mysterio's background from just being a special effects artist. That was a nice change up. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Since Iron Man 1, I think he's the best upgrade to a character going from Marvel Comics to the MCU. Like he's the character that's had the best redo basically from the ground up. It's like we're gonna keep him the exact same overall, but we're gonna give you reasonings for everything and make it work in the movie universe, and it works really fucking well.
Yep.
He's not
Man,
wrong.
but you know what? They did drop the ball here. What was one of the best suits in the Spider-Man PS4 game?
The Homecoming suit?
The
No.
negative suit.
No.
The 2099 suit?
No.
Both
There's
29.
there's like 38 more suits to run through,
Yeah.
Willie. You're probably just going to have to tell us.
Spider-Punk. And where was he at? He could have wore the Union Jack, motherfucker.
You realize Spider-Punk is not Peter Parker, right?
I know. I'm just saying
He's
it could
a
have
black
been
guy
cool.
from an
That's all I'm
alternate
saying.
universe.
Could have been cool to see in the movie. is all
Well,
I'm
wait
saying.
for Into the Spider-Verse 2, and you might
Yeah.
get Spider UK.
Yeah, there's no damn reason whatsoever that Peter Parker should put on the Spider UK outfit. That's not the same guy.
And for Into the Spider-Verse 2, you might actually get the Tom Holland cameo that appears, because supposedly they were trying to do one in the first one and it didn't pan out. I want Tom Holland to have a voice cameo in Spider-Verse 2.
I just want Miggy back. I got Miggy in that post-credit sequence, goddammit. I got my 2099. I just want him in the fucking actual main story.
No.
So come on back next week. We're going to geek out over Spider-Man Far From Home. We'll talk spoilers. We'll talk speculation of what's going to happen with Phase 4 based off of what they have done here, and then we'll also talk about our Happy and Aunt May actually dating.
Don't
Something
listen to
everyone
him. Don't
wants to
come
know
back
about.
next week. It's a trap. He's trying to trick you.
Why would I do such a thing? Why would I
But
do
what
such
you just said.
So let's start wrapping up the show because I want to go catch the end of the Women's World Cup game. I'll be honest.
Of course you do.
Why wouldn't I want to?
I have no
World Cup
idea.
soccer is about the only time I care.
You mean football?
Football, yes, exactly. So as we wrap up the show, longtime viewers or listeners of the show know we wrap things up with a little segment called What Am I Into? It's our chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and or nerdy things we've been getting into, so that maybe, just maybe, you'll want to check them out yourself. So let's throw things over to the Mohawked one himself first. Anthony, what have you been getting into?
I've been getting into being aggravated by fucking Dead by Daylight because I'm trying to get the Adept unlock for Ghostface, which you have to run just the main perks of the character, no bonus perks, and you have to get a, Merciless Victory. So usually it means somewhere around 8 unhooks. So you have to, hook the 4 survivors at least 8 times, and then usually get a 4 kill. Last night, after playing about 8 matches, there was a period in there I had 3 matches in a row where I had more than 8 unhooks. I had all 4 people killed without the generators ever being completed, and never once got the fucking Adept. The redo of the point system is bullshit. Yeah. It's almost impossible to get an Adept. If I can, not camp, not tunnel, I would put someone on a hook and I left. They didn't hang around, fucking wasn't being shitty. I had like one time where I turned right back around on the hook because as soon as I hooked somebody, I made it like 3 steps away and somebody unhooked them. So yeah, I turned around and attacked those fuckers because that's just being stupid. But yeah, no tunneling, no camping, and played like a good killer, wasn't being a shit, and had 3 matches in a row where I got 4 kills and never once got the Adept. It's fucking ridiculous how hard they've made it to get the Adept unlocks when I have all of them on the previous characters except the Nurse and the Plague. I have the 2 newest killers, I haven't unlocked it, and I have the hardest one on console because teleporting with the Nurse is a fucking pain in the ass. But yeah, it's just damn ridiculous. I've been loving the game because they fixed most of Ghostface perks, and he's fun to play now. You can get stealth mode. They fixed it to where his one of his perks, when you hook your obsession, whoever unhooks them becomes the obsession. It was broken for a while to where anybody who unhooked anybody became the obsession, and that became confusing as the killer because it was impossible to track if you had 2 people on hooks, because whichever one got unhooked first, that person unhooking the survivor would become the obsession. So they might be on the opposite side of the map of you, which is a pain. But yeah, they fixed that. But yeah, the point system is just awful. But at the same time, they made it to where Ghostface is playable. He's fun. It's still a little too easy for the survivors to knock you out of stealth mode, because if you're stalking them and looking at a generator and you can't see them, like literally 0% of their body is visible and you can't stalk them, but yeah, if their camera is pointed right at you from the other side of the generator, it can knock you out of stealth because they can see you, which is fucking bullshit. But it's still one of my favorite games. I played a lot of it yesterday. And then other than that, I've been playing some Apex Legends. Season 2 is going well. They did a full redesign from Season 1 was really just grinded out. Bunch of at least 30 to 40% of what you got in the battle pass on Season 1 was bullshit skins and level tags that nobody wanted. The guys at Respawn and EA did a huge update. They really listened to the fans. The Season 2 Battle Pass is full of stuff people actually want. It's multiple gun and character skins, animations. They added in emotes, and they made all the trackers like really easy to get. And then they added in, I think it's enough crafting materials to craft a legendary of your choice at the end. So if you buy the Battle Pass, by the end of the season, you have enough coins to buy the next Battle Pass, so you don't have to buy a second one. And then you get enough crafting materials to craft a legendary. Like, those 2 things right there already makes it so much better than the first season. And they did a complete rework of the map. The whole world has changed. The kaiju attack the island. There's actual like giant kaiju monsters stomping in the map now, which is fucking crazy. There's dragons and cages all over the place. You got the new character Watson. There's a huge update. I've played probably 50 some odd matches since it came out on Tuesday, and I still don't know every change in the map because it's so much that's been updated and changed, and it's been really fun. Playing as Watson has changed the meta, seeing that You can put up her ultimate and stop grenades from coming at you or artillery strikes. It's really changed how people are playing, which has been fun. And then they added in a bunch of add-ons that made a lot of the pistols that people hated and refused to use are now massively killer. Like you can take people out with a P2020 pistol now because of the add-ons if you have the like explosive rounds or whatever. And the alternator with the add-on is a fucking laser that just kills shields. So that's been a really fun game. And I think I'll be playing some more of that today. Doing the dailies and stuff has been cool too because it's not just getting XP points. They made it to where there are daily challenges like get 3 knockdowns with lifeline, open 5 of the stock barrels, supply barrels in a certain map area. So you have daily and weekly challenges, and they keep resetting and adding on, and you get XP points and battle pass levels depending on the challenges that you do. Like one I did last night was get 5 headshots with Gibraltar. I don't want to play Gibraltar. He's not my favorite character, but it was kind of cool, to hop on Gibraltar, get some headshots in a couple of matches and get a battle pass experience for it. So making it to where it's less grindy and more like more focused on doing specific things with specific characters has definitely made it more fun. And then other than that, I'm watching a bit of Netflix, watching 3 or 4 episodes into the new Stranger Things season, which has been really cool. Watching Elle kick some ass already, like 3 episodes in. She gets into a vicious fight with somebody that was really, really fun and really well done on the special effects. They did there's a fight scene. I won't say what happens, but it's really well done. And the fact that this whole season seems to be set around the mall is kind of cool because I remember the 80s and I remember how important malls were. And this really tracks. Like it makes sense. This feels like my childhood, which is kind of creepy. And then other than that, I did the 1 month free on YouTube Premium finally, and I watched all 2 seasons of Cobra Kai. And that might be the best damn show I never knew I needed. That show's made me cry twice. And it's fucking well done. Like all the actors in it, seeing Daniel LaRusso and Billy Zabsik come back as, the original hero and badass of the 80s, Mr. Bad Guy. Fucking William Zabsik was the bad guy in everything in the 80s. And he was really good at it. And seeing him kind of get redemption as a character, seeing him get to play a Johnny Lawrence who's not 100% evil, you see why he was the way he was. And like the comparison of the 2 characters and both of them getting to know more about each other as adults and finding out that, neither one of them is 100% good or 100% evil. Like they're both people, that have made decisions and shit happen and, their lives, were very similar while being very different. And watching them play off each other now as adults is so great because they're both really good actors. And honestly, the amazing thing is they're fucking like damn near 50, both of them. And the fight scenes are really good too. You get to see Daniel LaRusso fight Johnny Lawrence again. And that's worth it just for that alone. And then the kids that they got in the show that are playing teenagers, like they're great. And the fact that you get to see basically it starts off, the whole premise of the show is kids being bullied end up becoming the new Cobra Kai students. They join Cobra Kai to stop being bullied. But then, of course, they go a little too far and they turn into bullies themselves. And so then you get to see Johnny Lawrence try to say, I don't want to be Kreese. And he tries to pull his students back and show, that you can have no mercy, but you can still show honor. And so trying to get his students to where they're not assholes, they're not bullies. They just, are badasses who are willing to fight at the drop of a hat, but not necessarily hurt people. And so trying to find that middle ground in the storytelling is really cool. But yeah, if you haven't seen any of the Cobra Kai yet, go watch the show because it is so fucking good. And yeah, you can do a free month of the premium. I'm going to sign up for that. And then, yeah, I'll be canceling it soon. But it's worth binging the first 2 seasons. And that's what I did this week. And I do not regret a minute of it. I started, because I couldn't sleep last night, I put Karate Kid 1 back on. I started watching the original film because that show just made me nostalgic as shit. And it's so good.
And if you have Google Play Music, you get it as part of that subscription also. So like,
nice.
if you're a Google Play Music subscriber, you get the music, you get ad-free YouTube and all the YouTube premium channels also. So you can watch it that way as well. So
that's what I've been getting into. Back to you, Chris.
I'll go next because Willie said to skip him right now because I think he got busy with something else all of a sudden. What I've been getting into with the 4th of July holiday week or whatever, it threw off my work schedule. Things got weird. But we did see 2 movies in 2 days, which was fun. On the 3rd of July, we went to go see Spider-Man Far From Home because, let's be honest, it's me. I'm going to watch a Spider-Man movie if it's out there. And then the next day, we went to go see Toy Story 4. And goddamn, am I tired of Pixar trying to make me cry. I swear. I'm tired of it, Pixar. Stop trying to make me cry. That being said, Toy Story 4, I thought it was enjoyable. I don't think they can do another sequel now. But after watching it, I don't think I would necessarily call it Toy Story 4, but more a Woody story, because it's predominantly about Woody, and the rest of the guys are just supporting characters in this story.
What? I thought it was about Duke Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom is pretty awesome. Keanu Reeves kicks ass in the role. It's just fun to see him out there, or listen to him out there having fun, just being ridiculous on things like that. I am also continuing with my cord cutting experiment. So far, it has gone well. I think I talked about last week on Saturday, I dropped off the cable boxes to Comcast, just dropped down to internet only. I have been going YouTube TV for a little over a week now with minimal, if any, issues. I'm actually blaspheming and running it on an Apple TV because that's the best box for what I wanted to do. And other than one minor glitch, which they have acknowledged in the YouTube TV Reddit thread and are working on fixing, I've had no issues. And the glitch is dumb. If you hit the pause button on the remote, you can't unpause the video. But here's the workaround. Just hit the OK button like you normally would, or click the confirm button, and that works as a pause and unpause. So really, it's just an issue with YouTube TV on Apple TV, where if you hit the play pause button, you can't unpause, but you can just hit play pause by clicking the OK button. It's really weird. It's really weird.
It is. That's strange.
But it's really cool. The YouTube TV subreddit actually has an ongoing bug tracker there, where one of the devs goes in there and updates where they are on certain bugs and what is causing bugs. So they said, yes, we do know where this issue is. We're working on it right now. He goes, but here's the workaround. So they're really good about communicating those things back out. I have been pleasantly surprised with how much I like it, and I've been pleasantly surprised with how much I like the DVR, because you basically tell it, for instance, I like Rick and Morty, or I like Star Trek, and for lack of a better term, you're then subscribed to that show, and anytime it airs, it records and puts it in your DVR, and then assigns and arranges things by either recently recorded or episode numbers. So basically, if you like a show, it records them forever.
Nice.
And then it holds them for 9 months. So, like Rick and Morty, they show it every night on Adult Swim, it seems like. So there's putting a new Rick and Morty in the backlog on there.
So does it have that problem where it's doubling up on like reruns though?
The only option there is to record all or to record none, because you basically subscribe to a show. But it puts it in episode order. So really, you can either do an episode order or recently recorded. So when new stuff comes out, it's always at the top of the queue.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I've pleasantly enjoyed it. The only thing that sucks is CBS content. If it is available on demand, you do not get to watch your DVR version of it, so you can't fast forward commercials. They make you watch the on-demand version. But it's not terrible, because a commercial break is like 2 minutes long.
They make you watch commercials? How dare they?
I know, it's freaking atrocious.
What is this, the Dark Ages?
It seems like it, doesn't it?
I remember commercials.
They're the worst.
There used to be bathroom breaks.
They used to be. Now a bathroom break is when I hit the pause button and walk away.
Yeah.
So I can't really tell you what all I've been watching. It's just been BattleBots and other random stuff that's on there. Adam Savage's show. And then I'm going to go and watch Women's World Cup game after we're done here. But that's about all I've been getting into. It's been nothing crazy. Willie, I think, had to step away. So, Willie, you're still gone, right? 1, 2, 3. Willie's still gone.
Yeah, I guess I didn't mention, but yeah, I did go see the 56th movie in my movie streak as well. On Tuesday, I saw Far From Home opening day, which I don't think anybody actually needed me to say that.
It's just assumed at this point in time that that's how it would work.
It was so fucking entertaining.
It sure was. But I think Willie has stepped aside, so it is time for us to start shutting this thing down. Friendly reminder, we do record the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, over at geeks.live. That is the official streaming home of the Gonna Geek Network. While you're there, you're probably there right now, scroll down the page a little bit. You will see a calendar of all of our upcoming live events. You can come watch other live content on the Gonna Geek Network. And if you do, just tell them that the ATGN crew sent them to go watch your stuff, because hey, we like to tell people to watch other shows on the network. It's fun. Just make sure you come back and watch us afterwards. Don't leave us for these new shows. It would make us very sad. Very, very sad. Before we shut this thing down, you got any final thoughts for us, Anthony?
Probably be streaming some more Apex or Dead by Daylight later today over on Twitch. Bach2099 on Twitch, Bach2099 on PlayStation Network. So yeah, come find me, fuckers.
That sounds good. So I think that is shutting us down for this week. Thank you so much to everyone that did join us. We do look forward to seeing you guys back next week for a full spoiler-filled discussion on Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Later, chat room.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.